When the very long-awaited 2020 Toyota Supra made its big unveil last week, I was like a lot of the angry fanboys and totally lashed out on the internet, a rebadged Z4. What was Toyota thinking? I don't understand. I was brooding about it for days, and then I realized, why am I so upset over a car that I was probably never going to buy anyway? I mean, there's plenty of Japanese sports cars out there, new and used, like a Honda S2000 or a Toyota MR2. You can even find new or used Mazda Miatas out there. There's just so many used Japanese car options that we really don't need another one. And then I remembered that I had actually bought a Mazda Miata back in October. Oh yeah, I had this car. Yeah. Yes, in October 2018 is when I bought this car. I did not break my New Year's resolution. I just forgot that I had it until 2019. Now, I'd like to say that I planned this purchase, that I wanted to help celebrate the 30th anniversary of Mazda Miata, which is now, but no, it was just another impulse purchase. I saw it and bought it for only $5,600. It's an incredible deal. It certainly wasn't the cheapest Miata in the USA. You can pick these up for nothing, but it is the nicest. This car is a time capsule from 1990, from the birth of this icon, and it only has 30,000 original miles on it. I can't believe I was able to pick up this caliber of a car for only $5,600, especially when you consider how expensive other Japanese sports cars have got during that time. The Supra, S2000. Of course, the main reason why these are so cheap is because Mazda has made over 1 million of these cars. They sold that well. 2016, they celebrated 1 million Mazda Miatas. And it's easy to see why. In 1990, this car started out at just under $14,000. Way cheap. And my car is actually pretty well optioned. It has the Option A package, which came with power steering and a leather-wrapped steering wheel and a cassette deck stereo. It also got the limited slip differential and air conditioning, and it had a hardtop option. That was expensive. That was about $1,400, but sadly, the hardtop is gone on this car. Airplane. Wichita, Kansas has a lot of civil aviation. So with options, my little Mazda topped out at $17,800, which is still way cheap. Even if you account for inflation, it's still super cheap for a sports car. It's amazing. And now I'm going to drive it in the snowy roads and ruin my pristine car. Oh, that's super cringy for me, because this thing is mint and has probably never seen muddy, nasty roads like this. And I have a big affinity for Miatas. I have a long car history with them. I've had several NAs, this first generation where the nose is happy like this, and then a couple of NBs where they don't have the pop-up headlights and the eyes are a little like this, but still a big smile. And then there's the NCs where they start to get a little mad, but they still got kind of a grin on their face. I mean, and then, of course, the current generation is just angry. That Miatas have gotten angry over the last 30 years. Where was I going with this? Oh, I've had several Miatas. A lot of Miatas. My favorite one was a 1995 Merlot Mica. It's basically purple. That was an M edition. It had BBS wheels and an aftermarket supercharger. I also had a Mazda Speed Miata. It's a 2005. Which has the factory turbo. The only time that they did any kind of forced induction from the factory with a Miata. That was super neat, but I didn't keep it very long. That was with my dealership. All right, let's get going here. Now, I haven't owned a Miata in over 5 years, and I've really forgotten how good they are. I've owned so many cars since, but getting back into this one, even though it is the oldest and the slowest, still very pure Miata, it's easily one of the greatest cars ever built. Now, it's really easy for Miata haters to knock this thing because on paper, it seems pretty pathetic. 116 horsepower out of the 1.6 four-cylinder engine, giving it a 0 to 60 of about 10 seconds. Yeah, I know. And the car does have a goofy face. It's goofy, but the people who really knock it probably haven't driven one or driven a nice one. This thing is the best driver's car. And that gets said a lot. A lot of people also say that this car is a great momentum car, which is another term that gets knocked around quite a bit, but it is true. I'm hitting every single light and losing all of my momentum. Go. That's 30. That's 40. Now I have my momentum back, and now that I'm up to speed, if I were a much better driver and I was on the track, I could chase down in the turns a C5 Corvette easily, another very capable sports car with 350 horsepower. It's not magic, it's just because this thing weighs about 2,000 pounds, I think 2,100 exactly, and is set up just so well. It's so balanced. It's just perfect. This is something you can only get in an old sports car. And unlike most old sports cars, driving this one comes without any guilt. If you've ever watched a spec Miata race online, and there's some on YouTube, like the championships, it is so entertaining to watch them because the drivers can actually race in the old kind of way where they can rub, scrape, even hit each other, and their cars are fine. They're able to finish the race. You can't do that with a new race car with all of its aerodynamics, where it would just screw up the car so much. But with a Miata, just hammer the panel back out, you can replace it with some junkyard parts, and you're ready in a couple of hours for the next race. That's why people drive these things really hard. They're also dirt cheap to keep going because, well, they don't break, first of all, and when they do, parts are dirt cheap. The only thing you really have to worry about when driving a Miata is out on the public road right now with brodozers, some lifted trucks, and everybody's distracted with their cell phones, and they don't see this little itty-bitty Miata and do their own little miniature monster truck show with the occupants inside. Now, I do worry about this a lot, and I don't want to get decapitated by a brodozer, but the good thing about a Miata is you can avoid a lot of these situations because it's so small and nimble. So you got to be a defensive driver with these things because it's an itty-bitty car that nobody sees. And if you want to honk at them to alert them of your presence, you've got an itty-bitty cute horn. Nobody's going to hear that over their Nickelback CD in their giant lifted truck. Nope, don't get me wrong. Obviously, you've seen this channel. I'm not a dinosaur that only likes old cars. It's my wife's SLK 55 AMG that I really like, with its crazy, complicated hard top and lots of power in a little itty-bitty convertible. It's a hoot, but there's something to be said about the simplicity. I don't need a crazy power-operated top with this one because you can put the top up and down from the inside just as easy as that. The top's dropped. There's no hydraulics to brake or electrical gizmos or things. I have crank windows. I have 3 knobs for the climate control, 2 buttons. One's for hazards, the other one's for the pop-up headlights, which pop-up headlights, always a wiener. I love it. And it is really cold. This Hyundai's probably gonna be mad, but I'm gonna slow down so I can put the top back up while I'm moving. Not hard. So easy. So, other than the incredible driving experience, the only party trick of the Miata are the pop-up headlights. But one quirk I bet even Doug DeMuro didn't know is the pop-up headlights will have a little stroke and start winking at you if you hit the button as fast as you possibly can. Like this. Go, go, go. I better stop that before I break it. One thing I do need to do with this car, even though it's a perfect low original mile time capsule, is replace the perfect low 30-year-old timing belt in this 1.64 engine. probably get this valve cover cleaned up a little bit because this thing is so close to being a minter. It's amazing, a minter. That's what Mike Brewer would say, wheeler dealers. It's a British term, but yes. And then as for my plans after I check out this 30-year-old timing belt, don't worry, it's a non-interference engine, so I don't have to worry about pistons mashing valve if that timing belt were to go. My plans after that, I really don't know. I already have a lot of sports cars, so I don't really need this one, but it's nice to have one that I know is going to start every time I go out to the garage and not break on me and be really cheap to run. And since it's such a low mileage, really nice example of a car that's probably going to appreciate in value, I guess I can call it an investment. Yes, this is an investment towards my retirement, but that probably means when I actually retire, I'll have to go be a greeter at Walmart to pay the bills, but at least I'll show up at work with really, really cool cars. Thank you for watching. Oh geez. Oh, that's salt and mud and muck. Oh.